Ladies, I'm Lauren Vitale. On this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I'm going to show you how to make coconut cream pie. This has been a long, but it's been a long time coming. Let's just put it that way. A lot of people have been requesting this recipe, so I figured today is the day. Let's go over the ingredients so we can get started. You're going to need some whole milk, some regular granulated sugar, sweetened shredded coconut, all-purpose flour, egg yolks, unsalted butter, a pinch of salt, some vanilla extract, and you're going to need some pie crust. Now the choice is up to you. You can make your own pie crust from scratch, and if you want a great recipe, go to laurinthekitchen.com and get my recipe for just my basic pie crust, or you can buy a store-bought. Guess what? When it's on sale, I stock up because it's easy, it's delicious, and I can make a dessert in a pinch. So what I have here is a 9-inch pie crust that I have in a 10-inch, well, it's like 9.5 to 10-inch pie plate, and it's been sprayed with some non-stick spray. You can also just use some butter. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to prick it. But first thing you want to do also is get your oven preheated to 375. And so I'm just going to prick it, and we're going to blind bake this. And I mentioned blind baking in one of my videos a long time ago, and someone said, "Does that mean you put a blindfold on and bake?" Yeah, that's exactly what it means. Now, we're going to pre-cook, I'm going to cook the pie crust, but I'm going to cover it because what happens is I'm going to fill this with dried beans, or you can use rice, or you can use something called pie weights. But you know what? A 79-cent bag of dried beans will last you a long time, and you can use them over and over again. So that's what I use. I'm going to pop this into the oven. It's preheated at 375 for 10 minutes. It's going to partially cook the pie crust without giving it any color. Because if I were to pop this in right now without blind baking it, it would get too much color too soon and it wouldn't be fully cooked through. So I'm going to pop this in, and then we'll start making the custard. In a large saucepan over medium heat, I'm going to add in my milk. This is a really, really easy custard. I mean, in my opinion, coconut pie is just a custard, like a plain vanilla custard with shredded coconut in it, which is so delicious. This is probably, well, it's definitely one of my husband's favorites. He always gets those little tiny little packaged pies anytime we go somewhere, which I personally don't like because I don't think they taste like anything, but he loves the little coconut cream pies. So it's a splurge once in a while. So all I'm doing is just whisking it together. And I'm going to let that come to a little simmer. And while that happens, I'm going to take my egg yolks into a small little bowl. And I am just going to whisk them until they become a little lighter in color. And you also want to make sure that you don't stop stirring your milk. Come back every couple seconds to give it a stir because you don't want it to burn. My eggs are just how I like them. My milk mixture has gotten nice and hot. I'm going to take a ladle full of the milk mixture. I'm going to put it into the egg yolks. What this is doing is pretty much tempering the eggs or the egg yolks. If I were to put the egg yolks directly into the hot milk, they could scramble. There's nothing more unappealing, in my opinion, than scrambled eggs in your coconut cream pie. So that just takes 1 second. And then I'm going to put this mixture in the milk mixture. And I'm just going to cook this on medium-low heat, constantly stirring until it thickens and it becomes thick enough to coat the back of a wooden spoon. And I'll show you what it looks like once it's there. It'll take a few minutes, but it's well worth the wait. Just don't take a phone call with your girlfriend and gossip over some nonsense. Stand right here next to this custard and stir, stir, stir. My custard has thickened nicely. And I'll show you what I mean when I say I should coat the back of a wooden spoon. You see how when I run my finger, it stays separated? I should probably have gotten a darker wooden spoon so you could see better, but you get the gist. So now to this, I'm going to add in my unsalted butter. This is going to make it really, really creamy and lovely. We're going to add in, you make sure you stir the whole time. I'm going to add in a pinch of salt, super important, and some vanilla extract. This is going to turn this into a really fragrant custard. I'm just going to turn this off, and I'm just going to stir until the butter is melted. It'll just take a couple seconds. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to strain my custard, and I always do that because there's nothing worse than if you have any eggshell, or if maybe something curdled, or if your flour hasn't totally like kind of melted, or you know, you want to make sure you catch it. You don't want it in your finished product. See those little tiny little bits and pieces of flour? I wouldn't want that in my finished product, so I'm not going to put it in there. That's why we strain it. Move that to the side, and now we're going to add in the shredded coconut. And I'm telling you right now, when you add the coconut to the hot custard, something magical happens. It smells like coke. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it other than it just smells amazing. I wish you could smell it. Give that a nice stir. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover this with some plastic wrap, but the most important thing, after I grab it, is that the plastic wrap needs to touch the actual custard, because you don't want it to form like an ugly crust, you know what I mean, like a skin. I don't like that. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to lower the plastic right on top of my custard, like that, and I'm going to let this cool for a good half an hour or so, or until it comes down to about room temperature. And in the meantime, I've taken my pie crust out of the oven. I'm going to remove the foil with the beans, and I'm going to return the pie crust just by itself into the oven for about 15 minutes, or until it's a lightly golden brown color. And then I'm going to let that cool completely, and then I'll show you the assemble, and then, well, you know, the last final steps. So once your pie crust has baked and cooled, and your custard has been cooling for about 30 minutes, it's still slightly warm, but it's cooler than it was, and it's still really runny at this point. I'm just going to put it in my pie crust, and I'm telling you, if you were here, you definitely know that I have been snacking on this crust like you wouldn't believe, because it's so delicious. So good. Now I'm going to pop this into the fridge, and this needs to cool and set for a couple of hours, because, well, if you were to cut this right now, you wouldn't have a slice. It would kind of go all over the place. It would be still delicious, but it would defeat the purpose of a coconut cream pie. So I'm going to pop this into the fridge for a few hours, and I'll show you what it looks like once it's set. My coconut cream pie has been in the fridge for several hours. Now, this is the part where some recipe will call for meringue topping, and some recipes will call for a sweetened whipped cream topping, which is my favorite kind to use, and that's what I'm using. I'm just using some sweetened whipped cream that I just put together, and that's how I like to serve it. But by all means, if you like a meringue topping, then do that. It's totally, you know, up to you. But like I said, I like some sweet whipped cream, so that's what I'm using. So let's give this a little slice. Now, normally you would cover the entire topping with the whipped cream, but I like to put a nice little dollop and then sprinkle over some toasted coconut. I mean, come on. Oh, I need the spoon, because I'm going to go in for a taste. Look at that. It holds together beautifully. It's cold, but it's really yummy. It's got a great coconut flavor, not at all artificial, which is what I personally really like. I hope you enjoyed spending time with me. Go to www.laurenkitchen.com to get this recipe, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.